So let's just say in America, you're 25 years old.
Yeah.
And you know all the people in front of you have dealt with racism, discrimination, violence, unfair justice system. You know all these things. And you know at that point what your life too will look like. Mm-hmm. Because you're not a superhero. You're another black lady, black man. Mm-hmm. Yeah? And that was the problem I really had. Was how can my story be written before I even live my life? And regardless of what I do, so you go to school. What is school? You get money. You live in an exclusive neighborhood. You drive a nice car, right? Even these black people that are in those categories, they're still dealing with the racism and the violence. They're still dealing with the unfair treatment. There's no way to supersede that life there.
What's up, good people? Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your girl, the African Tigress, again with another amazing video. So today I'm joined with a very beautiful African woman here. I think it's about time you can introduce yourself.
Hey, hi everybody. My name is Gina Ifoy. I am the African superstar, and I'm so delighted to be spending my afternoon with the African Tigress. We are together here in Nairobi, which is wonderful. So thank you so much for having me on your channel.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Oh, good. I see you.
Hey, I'm trying.
It's the easiest language to learn.
Yeah, it's
what you see is what you read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what you say. As
it's
long
nice.
as you can say the vowels R, A, E, O, U,
you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. So,
tell us, who is the African superstar?
Hey,
who is African superstar?
Well, I am a world traveler. I'm an international motivational speaker, and I also have a YouTube platform, which I know that the African Tigress will provide you that information. But basically, I promote, unity among Africans, among people in the diaspora. My platform shows, my African travels. I've currently been to 6 countries. I frequent Ghana. I'll be going to Nigeria next week. South Africa, Egypt, Kenya, and Tanzania.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
always ongoing.
Where are you from?
The background, I'm from Africa, but I was raised up in America. I currently live in the UK. So, I'm a product of us being dispersed all around the world, but I'm here in the motherland, always coming back to the motherland because it is home, and I find home any place I go. Even I've come to Kenya, I've met some beautiful, lovely, nice people, so welcoming. It's very, very inviting. I'm always like, I'm excited when I'm coming. I'll be coming to Kenya very soon in the near future again.
Is this your first time in Kenya?
No, this is my second visit. I actually came to Kenya in March this year. That was my first visit. And when I came, something I talk very often about on my channel is many opportunities that are available here in Africa for people in the diaspora. So I highlighted an opportunity. I found an opportunity and started a website called theafricansuperstar.com, in which I'll be selling these type of items. I come to Kenya to collect these beautiful handmade items from the Maasai tribes of Kenya and Tanzania. Just beautiful workmanship, things you have never seen, and it is definitely a treasure, and the Kenyan people should be very proud of that rich heritage and culture, and I love it. So when I actually came to Nairobi the first time, that is when I became aware of it, and it became a business opportunity for me. So I'm here prior to my website will drop next week, and I'll be selling these items. I'm here to gather all the inventory, and that is how it has gone on.
I'm definitely going to put a link to your website.
Thank you so much.
So that those who would be interested in such products,
yes,
they can get
worldwide shipping. This first, obviously because I'm very conscious to have very unique statement pieces. So I take time when I go out and I shop, and I pick very distinct pieces, things that you'll see on my website that others are not selling, or you haven't really seen those styles before. So it's limited stock. So once obviously this stock sells out, then you'll have to wait for the next release, whenever that will be, because I will also, the next collection, I'll be selling items from Ghana. So if you guys are interested, I know many Kenyans love the African prints, the kentes and the ankras and everything. They show a lot of love to West Africans here. You know, they show a lot of love. I was playing some Ghanaian music in the house, and some of the people in the house were like, "Oh, I really like this song. Oh, do you know Burna Boy? And do you know this guy? And do you know this?" For all of our Ghanaian watchers, you know, all of our West African watchers, you know, Africans unite. There's so much wealth between us all, you know, that we can share. And so obviously I just wanted to have kind of an e-commerce platform that allowed people that are outside to be able to capture these goods or have access to these goods, because you know, here in Africa we do things word of mouth. You know, you ask them, oh, who has this, who has that, who's good for cars, who's good for hair, and we don't really use the internet the same way they do in the West. They depend every time Google, Amazon, eBay, you know. So I saw that need and created that platform. So again, you know, I don't want to talk too much, but yeah, theafricansuperstar.com for your statement African jewelries and clothing from Ghana. I don't have anything for the fellas at the moment. I'm sorry, but as it grows, who knows?
Actually, I wanted to ask you about it. So, do you have anything for men? Because we can see all you have is like ladies.
Yeah, the ladies things. You know, at this time, I don't know. You know, the beauty about enterprising in the motherland a lot of times, and I think many entrepreneurs have experienced just incredible success. You know, maybe they start out small with their operation, but because of the need, it can just grow. So I am anticipating, you know, the need to be high, but hopefully with the success of my first few collections, I'll be able to provide a broader range of products. But for now, you know, it is more or less the African superstar style. Many people always are asking me about my clothing and my jewelry because I celebrate our cultures, you know, and I think from around the continent, there's just so much beautiful things, you know. So much beautiful jewelry, clothing. I love to do face paint. I just love African culture. I love it.
It's not very, it's quite rare to meet people and they've done their face. So I saw it and I was like, wow, you're actually the African superstar.
Yeah, I love it. You know what I mean? I love it. I love to celebrate our culture. I just think that it is so unique. And many things are very distinct. Like, for instance, for any African person, when they see these beads, they know they come from Kenya. You know, you see them immediately and you know, oh, those are Maasai beads. You know, it's very, very distinct. The same way when you see this, you will say, oh, that's Kente from Ghana. Yeah. Or, you know, when you see the Nigerian clothing, you will know, oh, this is Nigerians, or the Zulus from South Africa. You know, we have very distinct culture and we should celebrate it, you know. So that is something that I do. And many people remark on my clothing. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick out many items. I know some people, at least people from my audience, they like my taste. So then they'll have access to things that, oh, the African superstar would wear this, or she likes this, and you know, those kind of things.
So actually, why do you call yourself the African superstar?
You know, it's a funny story. Actually, my friends came up with that. Because of my zest and my love for Africa. And at the time, I formerly resided in America. I lived in America for quite a long time. I went to school there, university, was married and divorced all before I migrated to the UK. And it was a bit unusual for someone from the diaspora to have that strong love for Africa, you know, at least among my peers. I was, you know, this was years ago. You know, I've always been longing to be back. I've always been longing to do exactly what I'm doing now. I feel so blessed and privileged to be very connected to the motherland. You know, meet people like yourself that you know, you build friendships. You know, the lady who I'm staying in her guest house, Mary, which I'll shout that out, the Kenyan Inn, if anyone is coming to Nairobi or needs a nice, clean, you know, nice, fresh place to stay, I recommend Mary. She runs 2 guest houses, and they're very nice and hospitable. But I came to Kenya, solo traveler, and I essentially just wanted to know what East Africa was like, because I frequent West Africa. I had already been to the north. I went to Egypt, and I've been to South Africa. So I came out to Nairobi, and you know, I just wanted to experience it. And I stayed in Mary's house. Mary was so friendly. You know, she took me around town, took me on my tattoo, which I really loved.
Oh, wow.
My tattoo is like public transportation. For those of you on the West, it's like chochos from Ghana. You know, they operate vans or buses, you know.
Vans, buses.
Yeah, like transport. So, you know, Mary took me into town. I went to the markets. I saw the Maasai jewelry. And then after I was here in Nairobi, I went on to Zanzibar. And I actually got to see the actual Maasai, so I was so stoked. But anyway, I have those videos on my channel if you want to ever see those. But yeah, I was very impressed with Nairobi. You know, it's a very modern city. It's a huge economy. But the people, you know, you guys are very friendly. You know, some places you go, they're not really welcoming. And definitely if you're used to Western environments, America, Europe, you know, people...
So which is the first African country that you visited?
The very first country I went to was South Africa. Yeah, I went to South Africa. This was back in 2016 is when I started. I spent 3 weeks in South Africa. Again, all of my travels have been solo travels in the motherland. Because basically, you know, other people are either too scared. They say they don't have the funds to travel to Africa. They're disinterested because obviously the media exposure has stolen that from them. And so, you know, I just decided, listen, I want to live my life now. You know, I don't know how much time I have to live. I need to see things now. I don't want to spend my whole life wondering, oh, what is it like? What is it like? You know? So basically, I spent 3 weeks in South Africa, a week in Joburg, a week in Cape Town, and a week in Pretoria. And then I went on to Ghana. I went to Accra for a week on that trip. And it was amazing. You know, when I got to South Africa, I mean, obviously South Africa has its challenges just like anywhere else in the world, but it's a very beautiful country. It's very, very scenic. You know, mountains and the beaches are...
Cape Town,
I mean, and my favorite was, of course, Joburg. I love the black majority.
Yeah, they're mostly in Joburg.
Yeah, I love the black majority. When I came to O.R. Tambo, which is a beautiful world-class airport, it's beautiful, it's incredible. I got there and I was just like, wow, this is so nice, you know, because it will have you to not expect these things, you know, modern things and everything. So when I got there, I was really impressed with the airport, and then they had a subway train called the How train. I took the How train from the airport. They had Uber. I stayed in an Airbnb in Joburg, and I was really impressed. I had a whole flat, 2-bedroom flat with the housekeeper for like maybe $10-15 a night. It was insane.
Wow, that's quite affordable.
It was, I mean, I get choked, you know, when I get choked up, but I just, the thing that stood out to me, because I want people from the diaspora to know that we are not minorities. We are not, you know, we're always made to feel unwelcome in our Western environments. We're always made to feel odd, and we're always made to feel to conform. When you come to Africa, you can just be free. When I came to, matter of fact, every place I've gone in Africa, people will speak the local languages to me when I come.
Because you're African.
Of course.
So they assume you should understand.
Immediately when you get there, they just start speaking. So when I got to South Africa, they were speaking Xhosa, which is one of the language. They would just start talking to me. And I'm like,
you have that look.
That's what I would hear. People say, oh, you look like a South African. And then, you know, where I was staying, because I particularly like to stay in residential areas when I go to my travels. I don't really, unless it's like a special holiday, will I stay in like a hotel or a resort or something. I like to experience real life, you know. I want to see how people are going up and down, not the tourist experience. So I had an Airbnb near a university. So I remember probably like the second day I got there, I went to this local shopping center, and I was just astounded. I didn't see one white person. Actually, I didn't see one white person for the whole week. Every place I went, it was all black. And obviously they were speaking Xhosa to me because they were thinking, this girl's a tourist, you know. And even when I told the South Africans, oh, I'm visiting from America, they said, oh, well, you've just been away. You're home now.
You're home now.
You belong here. You know, you fit here.
So when you first got to Africa, how was the feeling? Any country, like, oh, you say you travel a lot?
Yes.
So you come back, go.
Yeah.
So like every time you get to Africa or any country, Africa in the sense that any country in Africa, that how is the feeling?
The feeling is just, it's just satisfaction, you know. It's excitement, it is hope, you know. It is it's a sense of belonging, and again, and that's one thing. This has kind of driven my travels as far as to go around the continent, because some people will say, well, you know, it's different in North Africa. You know, the Egyptians aren't friendly, or, you know, oh, the Ethiopians aren't nice, or this, you know, they try to always pit us against each other.
Yeah.
You know, even somebody will say, oh, you know, Kenyans don't like Ghanaians don't like Nigerians, you know, and all of these type of nonsense rubbish. But I'm telling you, wherever I have gone on the continent, I've had the same sensation. You know, we're different in some ways, but there's so many things that are just innate parts of our people. And I think that hospitality, warmness, you know, family, community, I think that's just an element in African culture around the continent. You know, people are just so nice. Even when I went to Egypt, you know, the Arabic people, the Muslim people, they were so hospitable to me. It was unbelievable. Even as a woman, a solo traveler, you know, I did dress as Egyptian though, so I didn't go Western clothing. I was smart enough to, you know, because I think when you travel in the Muslim environments, you stand out a lot when you're wearing Western clothing. You're very identifiable. That, you know.
When in Egypt were you?
I went to Cairo and I went to Luxor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because my experience in Egypt, I didn't have to dress like a Muslim.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't feel like I needed to, because there were lots of people visiting.
Yeah. There's lots of tourists,
yeah,
but
so I didn't feel like
my goals are always to try to like really blend in.
Oh, okay.
So that's my goal, because I noticed that when people in the Western clothing would go by like vendors or something, the vendors will always say, oh, would you like to, you know, they will always try to sell their goods to you.
Yeah.
Or if you go to the pyramids, they want to.
So you had to cover even your hair?
Yeah, I wore a scarf. I didn't wear like the hijab, but I wore a scarf.
But I also noticed like there was a number of Egyptians that don't cover their hair.
Yeah,
lots of them. I think in Islamic countries I've seen like Egypt is where I met a lot of Egyptians that don't actually cover their hair. Yeah,
I think it was more, I felt more of the need to do it in Cairo. When I got to Luxor, it was a lot more relaxed than Cairo. But I mean, it worked out for me. The test was when I walked up the sidewalk and nobody tried to talk to me. I was like, oh, yeah, I think I'm wrong. So that was my goal. Because I just didn't want to be disturbed. Obviously, as like a solo traveler, if you go places and people are constantly trying to sell you things, it gets annoying.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to, wherever I go, I try to, you know, blend in a little bit, you know. Typically, I can change my hair anyhow. But like, for instance, I'm going to the markets when I'm here in Nairobi. I'm not going to go so glamorous. Like, I wouldn't go like this and try to...
Just you need some maybe.
Yeah, you need to draw attention, you know.
Jeans, shoes and all that.
You know, try to look more simple.
Kenyan.
And yeah, exactly. You can't be just going around. I think, obviously, that's just a travel tip that has worked well for me. Sometimes people from the diaspora, they can be unaware of cultural norms wherever they go. And it draws attention to them and they really stand out. If you don't mind, that's fine. But if you want to kind of be more laid back and have a low profile, you know, I pick and choose when I want to be exposed, you know. When I want people to know that I'm the African superstar, but sometimes I just want to be a local and just, you know, get the local prize, get the local access and not all that attention. So yeah, my experience in Egypt was really, really, really special and nice. And
so what has changed since you started traveling? What has changed?
Well, I've gone from wondering to knowing. And for me, that is so powerful because I've been able to move forward in my plans. I think for me personally, my life had come to a point in the West where it was just very stagnant. And I wasn't moving forward in many areas of my life, namely, you know, professionally. Obviously, our profession is our livelihood. It controls where we live. It controls, the access we have. It controls our leisure. It controls so many elements. So if you're challenging your professional life, you're not escalating, you're not making the kind of money you want to. As a world traveler, obviously you need money.
Yeah.
you can't travel on, hopes and wishes. So, I was trying to escalate professionally, corporately, more or less. And I was not moving forward because a lot of the racial things that go on in America, for instance, that were really prohibiting my progress. And, now I've segued into being an entrepreneur. I've segued into having an alternative view of how to progress through life. Because when you're in the West, they give you kind of a box to live in. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, and live out your days. And that's it, and if in any way you're not achieving those things, then you're just an outcast. There's no alternatives. But I think being here in the motherland gives you alternatives. You can kind of be the author of your own book. You can decide, oh, you know what, I want to build a property, or I want to, provide a service, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. I want to do tourism. There's just so much opportunity here, and you can find something that highlights your own personal strong suits. Obviously I'm a lady, I'm a very feminine woman. I love putting myself together. I love to celebrate African culture. Now I'm building a business that allows me to enjoy those things, also provide a service to my people, also support people here in the motherland. I'm sourcing from Africa. I'm helping local people with their business. I'm pouring money into the economy. That is very important to me. So I'm able to do many things that are very important and passionate to me. Meanwhile, creating a business, creating a source of income, promoting awareness. I just feel so fulfilled on many, many levels because of my connection to Africa. And I would never have experienced that. I was feeling so useless. I was feeling so useless, and people from the outside will look at you and say, well, you know what, you have this, you're so lucky. You have this car, you live in this place.
Yeah.
These things that don't mean much.
Do you ever have a plan, or do you see yourself at some point moving to Africa permanently?
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually, I don't give away those things. You guys gotta watch my channel to see the progression. Yeah, to see the progression. But yes, definitely in the near future.
Identified a specific country you want to?
Yeah, I do frequent Ghana.
Yeah.
And because a large part of my business is there, like when I begin to do the textiles and the clothing, obviously, I think the foreigners have gotten this concept correct when they choose to migrate to Africa. A lot of these Asians and these foreigners, they come here, they live here and run their business. They don't try to do it for
the raw materials.
Correct.
Easy and cheaper and all that.
Correct. People from the diaspora are, in my opinion, trying to take the cheap way. Some people, they're trying to be in the West, and then they're trying to run their business here, or they're trying to use a middleman. And like my mother told me when I was young, if you want things done properly, you need to do it yourself. I want my business to run a certain way. I want certain quality. I want certain products. So I need to be in the environment to manage those things. So that is why, another reason why I chose, for instance, with the jewelry and things, to come travel to Nairobi, to pick out the items myself, to be here during the process. I could have easily
actually connect to the people who are making them. So
and I just didn't want to get caught up with the middleman. There's people online selling things, and it's important to me. I want to support an African. I don't want to do business with an Indian or an Asian. Maybe somehow they get connected, but I directly want to choose someone from here. The people I deal with in Ghana are Ghanaians. That is what I want to do. I don't want to do middleman. I think middleman has not served us well. True. As Africans, we have the same capability that anybody else does. We're doing the functions for other people. We're building up other people's countries. We are basically the lifeblood of industry. Why don't we do for ourselves? Why don't we identify a problem and say, you know what, let me come up with a solution and do this for myself. I don't need someone else to do it. You know, I'm more than capable. I schooled in, you know, business and computers. I built my own website, you know.
Oh, you built your own
I built
website?
my website.
Oh,
I used
wow,
Wix.com. And actually, when I schooled, I went to a technical school in Ohio called ITT Tech. And we learned HTML. So there's all these codes that you put, and it generates the website.
I know a little bit of HTML.
And I'm telling you, it's not easy.
It's
because you
lot
can
of work.
put the wrong character, you forget a period, the whole HTML will just, you know, how many of you guys have gone to a website and you've just seen a bunch of code? That means the HTML is not working. Because you're supposed to see an image or a graphic or something. So nowadays, you know, technology has moved on since then. It was a lot easier to do my website. But, you know, this is what I'm talking about. You know, I could have employed someone to do that. But I sat down and put my hand to it. You know, many people here on YouTube, they have done the same. They've done DIY. They've taught themselves. And many people are very good. They're better than perhaps a teacher, you know, because they cultivate that skill or they research it to the level that is good for them. You know, a lot of people, like, you do very good with your editing on your videos. I'm not the best.
I try, and I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning.
You know, we are people that have basically applied ourselves. You know, we you know, neither one of us have gone to school for broadcasting or professional media. Or you know, but I definitely would say for you, you're a natural. You know, but practice makes perfect. You can go back to, you know, my channel's been around since 2013. You can go back to my first videos and see. She laughs. You can go back
because I know every content creator
has the first videos like.
Like for my channel, the first about 5 or 7 videos, they're private because I look at them and I cringe.
They're hilarious. I just remember my very first video. My sister was doing it for me on the phone, and my sister was chewing gum, and so she's doing this video, and then I'm just hearing. So, you know, but you cultivate your skill and you get better with time, and, you know, practice makes perfect. But essentially, I believe that we are capable. You know, that is how I was brought up. My mom always instilled in me, Gina, you are able to do great things. You're beautiful. You're smart. You know, you have creativity, and you're an innovator. You know, and these are the things that my mom regularly told me. So I grew up to that kind of woman that I feel, why? You know, why do I need? You know, and that is why I look at, you know, Africa, and I'm just like, we don't need these guys. You know what I mean?
We have the resources.
We have everything. These guys are coming to us. Europe, you know. Europe, they're not exporting anything. They don't have crops. They don't have food. They don't have resources. You know, the motherland has everything. You know, why are we depending on other people to do these things? You know, some foreigner can come to Kenya, for instance, and make a huge business selling these beads. You know, to the world. Why not an African? Why not a local person? Why not a Kenyan? Or why not even another African? Since I'm here in Kenya, the Kenyan people, this is another business opportunity maybe for someone watching. They love Ghanaian African print clothes. I'm telling you. My
like
God.
This.
Like
so
this.
Beautiful.
Hey, you
I
go
could
out.
have taken it if it was my size.
You go out in the community with African print clothes and you wouldn't even think it's a big deal. And everybody will compliment you. They love these clothes. It's a huge... So think about it. You know, once again, that's African to African. That's Ghanaians to Kenyan. Somebody from Ghana or someone who's going to Ghana has access to the clothes, carries them to Kenya, bam. You're doing business. You know, it's just that simple. Because it's a need here. People love it, you know. And these are the kind of things that we can identify. We can identify the needs and provide the solution and get busy. And, you know, and unlike these other outside foreigners that are coming here, a lot of us will have love for our own people. You know, we care about Africa. We care about the communities. We care about the culture. These other foreigners are here simply to capitalize. They don't care about us.
The welfare. They get their resources and they invest back.
You know, half the time when they come, they don't even want to work with us. If they're coming from abroad, they bring their own workers.
Yeah.
You know, there's not even like, they don't even want to integrate with the local people. How can you come to a country and you don't want to? But that's their sentiment. At least for us, you know, like when people do business with me, they're going to know I love Africa. I love my people. You know, I love them. And this is something that all of us benefits. You know, it's business for me, but it provides goods to people that want them. It provides business to local people that are selling their goods. You know, it's good on many levels.
Yeah.
And I'm not a dodgy person. You know, I'm not lying and cheating and stealing to have an enterprise. I'm doing something legitimate that is bringing fruit. So, you know, I just encourage many more young people to begin this journey. We need to become the solutions to the problems that we are identifying. And as far as our future goes in the West, there is very little prospect and very little growth there. You know,
Yeah.
Africa is the future. The systems have been designed in a way that is not going to allow us to escalate there. And that is why many centuries of our people have remained in the positions that they are. It's not because our people are not capable and not because they haven't applied themselves. You know, African people, black people, we are some of the most ambitious people in the world. We go
Hard
so
working
hard.
and all that, yeah.
We can sacrifice. We can really put our mind on something. So I refuse to believe that our people are in the positions because of their inability to do it. There's a reason they're there. And even someone like me who've tried to fight, you know, the things I was experiencing, at a point you realize that this situation is so much bigger than you. So then you have to decide, okay, how can I be productive in my life? And I changed gears, and I feel much more you know, promise and hope now that I'm enterprising here.
You feel like you're living.
Yes, I feel like finally. So say you're 25 years old. I'm not 25. I don't know.
Maybe.
Ladies don't like to talk their ages, but
young forever.
So let's just say in America you're 25 years old,
Yeah.
and you know all the people in front of you have dealt with racism, discrimination, violence, you know, unfair justice system. You know all these things, and you know at that point what your life too will look like, because you're not a superhero. You're another black lady, black man. Yeah, and that was the problem I really had. Was how can my story be written before I even live my life? And regardless of what I do, so you go to school. What is school? You get money. You live in an exclusive neighborhood. You drive a nice car, right? Even these black people that are in those categories, they're still dealing with the racism and the violence. They're still dealing with the unfair treatment. There's no way to supersede that life there. I had a problem with that. Because if I'm living and I'm still aspiring to see my life, then the hope should be there that I can change how it's going to work out. You know, I can choose to be a failure. I can choose to be a success.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that story was already determined for me. You know, as a black woman, there's all these stereotypes of how you're going to live. Oh, only so many black women get married. A lot of single women, you know, single parents. You're not going to have certain, you know, professional success, because certain professional success is reserved for white people and mostly white males. You know, white males are at the top of the corporations and things like that. So for those of us that were in a corporate environment, you know, you just see the ceilings in every aspect of life. And I don't know, how can you live like that? You're going to be depressed.
Yeah, it's depressing to feel that as much as you're working hard, you're not rising.
Yes.
You're not getting, it's like you're trying to achieve something, but you're working so hard. You know you deserve that, but you're not getting it.
Yes.
It
And
can be depressing and stressing.
And the channels that they have told you that will get you there are not getting you there. Because as you're born and raised in America, they tell you, and they tell you the same here in Africa, education is the key.
The key.
You know, education is the vehicle, you know, for you to get up and everything. But the reality is nobody has become millionaire by going to work 9 to 5. No.
They've
had to create something, do a side business, you know, kind of break away from.
Break away from the system.
Yeah, that is how people differentiate themselves. But that is how we are systemized. So when you're going through it and you're thinking, okay, now I have master's degree, you know, now I have doctorate, I should be here, I should be making 100,000, I should have a mention, I should be doing this and that, and your life is not mirroring that at all, you know. And you're thinking, I've done the steps, I've taken the steps,
done everything.
Exactly. What more can I do? If you have a doctorate, for instance, you can't get more education. That's the highest level, you know. So what are you going to do if you're not progressing, but you have these qualifications? things like in America, they'll tell you once you have these degrees, oh, well, you don't have on-the-job experience. We're looking for someone who's been working for 10 years, 15, something unattainable. You go back to school. Oh, well, we want someone with this degree, not that degree.
Yeah.
It will make you mad. It will make you go crazy. And I think people that are proactive and progressive, they have to realistically look at the situation and not internalize it. It's not you as an individual because you're not moving forward. It doesn't have anything to do with your inputs. They'll make you to feel inadequate, like something's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
which is not.
Yeah, Gina's not doing this. How many African ladies can definitely relate? When are you getting married? When are you having a family? I saw in your video, you did a video of the questions for your 5K.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody wants to know, okay, is African Tigress married?
Yeah.
Kids?
Yeah. You dating? Do you have kids and all that?
For ladies, that is like, everybody
always asks that for ladies. Yeah.
So.
It doesn't matter, like, just what am I doing with life?
Right.
What impact am I having?
Yeah, so, that's basically my word on it. And I think there's just so much more promise here. I think my life has taken a much more hopeful, optimistic turn.
And you're happy?
I'm so happy. I really, really am. Because literally, like even this year, I came to Kenya in March. That was the first time I came here. The opportunity presented itself. I made a video about it on my channel, but essentially my cousin made the suggestion. I did this very elaborate face paints and everything with the Maasai because I really admire the Maasai tribes. That's kind of another reason that led me to Kenya. I was reading about them online. I saw a couple documentaries and I thought, wow, these people are amazing. And I was really impressed with how, modern society is trying to, get them to conform and live how we live, but a lot of them, they value their lifestyle, and they don't want to get rid of it, and they understand, even without all the modern conveniences, they understand, okay, if we start losing our tradition, our people will go, our culture will leave. So they try to preserve it, and I really admired that. So when I came to Kenya, I was doing face paints. It was a Maasai, tribute to them. I mean, even though I was here in the city and I didn't know I wouldn't see them. And I was going out like that, full face paint and everything into the community. Everybody was like, what is going on?
I know, it's not very common.
I went to the KICC building and I had like proper face paint. And everybody was like, wow, what's going on? But they received me well. It wasn't negative. They were like,
they'll be interested.
Yeah, they were.
What's up? What's the event?
Yeah, they asked. They were like, what is it for? And I said, oh, I'm here on holidays and I'm just celebrating the Maasai. I really admire them. And so this is my tribute. And they were like, wow, I thought it looked like Maasai paint, but we never see them in the city. They live in
the outskirts.
Yeah, so, so I came to Kenya in March. I was wearing this face paint. My cousin said to me, man, you did that. You should do your own brand. You should do your own, sell your own things because the way you would market it would be really great. And so, he's made that suggestion and that's kind of what sparked the whole thing. And so now here it is, October, right?
Yeah, we are almost in November.
My days have been blurring together because I've been traveling so much. It's almost November.
Yeah.
Okay. So that...
in 2-3 days.
Yes. So within the course of like 6 months' time,
you're starting your business.
Correct.
That's really awesome.
And that's less than a year. And I'm talking about when I worked in America, I worked for JP Morgan Chase. I worked corporately at the bank for almost 8 years.
Wow.
And I didn't go anywhere. I managed to stay lateral the whole time. I was trying to get promoted, I was trying to get up to a higher level, get more income and everything. I couldn't, And then
you go to school, get
more degree. You have bachelors, they say they want masters, you get masters, then they say they want on the job experience, they say they want a certification. Basically, there's an American actress named Janelle Monáe. She said it so perfectly in this movie called Hidden Figures. It's a movie about these black women that were helping with the astronauts, the first trip from America to space and all this. And they had black female engineers that were doing the calculations and everything that we never knew about, okay? Well, never knew about. They didn't tell. They talk about the astronaut, but they don't talk about the women that created the process. But anyway, that's beside the point. So Janelle Monáe was an actress in this movie, and basically she wanted to become an engineer. She wanted to take the courses to be an engineer. Well, these courses were only offered in a white school, and this was during segregation. So she had to go to court to get permission to go take the courses. And she made the statement, and she said, it's just like a race. Every time you begin to get close, they move the finish line, you know, and change up the rules.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you deal with there, you know. And that is why so many people are not going forward. You know, they're not going forward, and it's frustrating. And many Black professionals are just like, what's next? You know, what's next is entrepreneurship. There's a lot of opportunities here. Basically in life, either you'll work for someone or you'll learn to work for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's it, period. And entrepreneurship is never promoted in the West. They don't raise you to be that way. I think there's a lot more, you know, just because of the nature of African life, people are very industrious here. They get out there and sell things.
Yeah.
They try to offer a service. They try to, you know, because maybe a lot of people, they can't get the formal jobs or whatever, so that it causes that. So I think you guys are a lot more entrepreneurial than people in the diaspora, because we're much more accustomed to just going and look for a job, you know. You know, for me, being the master of my own destiny, being able to be creative and do it the way I want it is just amazing. You know, I love it, and I'm so happy, you know. People comment all the time about my demeanor, how my demeanor has changed over these past few years.
Yeah.
I left America, I moved to the UK, basically because it's closer to Africa. There's more ability to travel, and, you know, I knew that I would be able to really gather myself to do what I want to do, and it's true.
And it's working.
And I wish I would have known this years ago.
Way back.
Because I will already be settled by now in my mansion house.
somewhere in Africa.
Because here you can actually build, you know, you can raise yourself up. There's a lot of people, I've heard stories, you know, they started out poor and they escalated themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they were able to change their life dynamics because of what they put in their life. And so those of us that are hardworking and those of us that are visionaries, we have the capability to have a great life in Africa. You know, or at least do business here, or at least travel here. You know, connecting in some way is going to open the doors for us.
So, have you faced any challenges traveling across Africa?
Yeah. Yeah. Nigeria.
What happened?
Nigeria. So I did mention it during the video that I am journeying to Nigeria next week. I'm connected with a very popular YouTuber named Dynas Amir from Search for Uhuru channel. And actually I was journeying over to see him in February this year.
Yeah.
Dynas had connected with the tribal chief in this village called Oruro. And this chief really took a liking to him, and he said, you know what, you look like my family that was taken away, you know, centuries ago and stuff. And he made him a prince. So Dynas invited me to go to the ceremony, which I was so excited.
Yeah, that should have been
It would have been
amazing.
awesome. And you know, I was like the only YouTuber that he asked, and at the time I was in Egypt when he asked. So I had about 3 weeks to get everything together, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go. This is a once in a lifetime thing. You know, how many people do you see become a prince? I want to go.
Yeah.
So I bought a ticket to Nigeria, and I had a lot of issues with the visa. Nigeria, unlike Kenya, Kenya offers visa on arrival, and it's a very smooth process, so you can travel here without any hardships, you know.
Yeah.
But with Nigeria, they don't have the typical visa on arrival available. You have to contact their embassy beforehand to get permission to buy the visa on arrival. So I contacted the embassy, and I was waiting to hear back from them, and I never heard back from them. When it came time to travel, I chose to travel anyway, because if I didn't travel, I would immediately lose my ticket because it was non-refundable.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me just go and try to work it out when I get to the airport. You know. So I went there. I tried to negotiate with them. They said, well, did you get the approval? I said, I can't reach them, you know, this and that. I was having issues with my phone. I couldn't even show them the emails. And then I got deported. So I was in Lagos for 3 hours, and then they deported me back to the UK.
Really?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So, you know, but I think 1 out of 6 is not bad. You know, and obviously Nigeria was not my first visit to Africa. Maybe it could have impacted, you know, my view on traveling to Africa.
If that was the first.
Yeah, that was the first.
Visited,
yeah, because even recently, like this go around, I went through the proper channels to get a regular visa. Even the process was very tedious. I had to go to the embassy like 3 times. Kept asking for different documents. You know, all this stuff. It was very tedious. You know, and I always say to my Nigerian audience, for instance, you know, these kind of things deter tourism in your country because Western people like convenience. You know, they like things easy.
I think they've introduced new regulations, and I think, you know, a lot of people limit them to their countries.
Yes.
So it's like, I feel somehow maybe they're just reiterating. Like you limit us coming to your country. So
yeah,
why
so
do
they want to punish.
Why do you want to come to ours?
Yeah. But I mean, I think, you know, obviously the attitude, the Pan-African interest is really, really booming right now. And I think African nations are going to have to adapt to that to capture it, you know. And I think a lot of countries have been up and coming. And, you know, obviously I talk about Ghana a lot. I frequent Ghana, but Ghana is a prime example. During 2019, they've been marketing straight to the diaspora, the year of return, and they have had insurmountable success, you know, a lot of tourism dollars, a lot of people from the diaspora going over there. They've had you know, things targeted, you know, events and things like they have coming up in December. Afrochella, it's this big music festival. They're gonna, you know, so they're inviting them, and the diaspora is responding. So what I think other African nations can see this, you know, see this energy and kind of create their own campaigns and create, you know, it's not special treatment, but it's tourism. You know, they do this all over the world. You know, you have Coachella, you have certain music festivals in Europe, you have, you know, the Olympics, the World Cup. These are things people market and try to draw tourism in. So I don't think there's anything wrong with African nations doing the same, saying, hey, we want Black Americans to visit, we want Europeans to come, and making something to invite them, making them something attractive for them to come. You know, and in Kenya, for instance, I mean, you guys have loads of tourism, I think.
Yeah, we do have a lot of.
You guys have a lot of tourism, and people like the wildlife, especially the white people. Yeah, they love the animals. I went out to see the giraffes last time I was here.
Oh, you went to the giraffe center?
Yes, I did. They're really amazing. I'm not a big animal person.
I get it.
But they're so pretty. You know, I thought, okay, I'm in Kenya, and I know there's a lot of wildlife here, so I should go see some wildlife. So I went to see them, and they're beautiful, but I couldn't feed it because it has this black tongue. It's really slimy.
And people are like kissing.
Girl, I could not do it. I went all the way up there, and Mary, the lady, my guest house lady, she said, you went all the way up there and you didn't feel. I couldn't do it, man. I saw that black tongue come out.
And a lot of people kissing.
Oh my God. I was thinking, no, you know, it's nice to admire it, but I can't.
I think those giraffes have kissed so many people in life.
Oh my God. I mean,
probably
they're amazing.
Probably each kiss is like 100 people
per day. It was so gross. And then I think there was a security man there, and he asked, is there an elephant center nearby?
Yes.
Yeah, he said, are you going to go to the elephant center? I said, look, man, I'm not trying to do that because I know they don't smell nice. I'm not even trying to go over there and deal with the elephants. Maybe one day. I would like to see a zebra, though. I saw a little zebra statue when I came into the airport. It looked so lifelike. I thought it was a real one. I was like, oh my gosh.
A zebra in the airport.
No, but the guy said that there's a game park by the airport. Yeah. And he said in the mornings you can see the zebras coming out and everything. So I went in my...
And in some places when you're driving through like Nairobi to Nakuru, which is like 2 hours away, along the way you'll see lots of zebras.
Really?
Yeah, just on the sides of the road.
Yeah, it's so common for you. And it's amazing because you see like local people, they're not intimidated by the animals. You know, which I think is fantastic because obviously we're used to in the West, we're used to seeing them, you know, confined in zoos and this kind of, we don't see, you know, you don't just walk up the road and see a zebra or something like that.
Oh, interesting. This is a very interesting conversation.
It's great.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to probably maybe come to Africa? Or by Africa, you know, when I say Africa, because that's what everybody says. And it's a question I hate when people say, oh, are you going to Africa? I like it when they say specific. But in this case, I'm just talking any country in Africa. Yes. So since you've traveled, you've been to the West, East, South, and North. So what would you advise somebody?
I would, first of all, I would tell you don't delay. You know, it doesn't have to be such a grand idea. Sometimes when I speak to people about African travels, they're like, "Oh, one day." You know,
A lot of people say it's expensive. They are not coming because it's expensive.
that's
How
what they
much
say.
does someone need for a return ticket for, let me say, from the US to maybe any country that you've been to?
It depends. I mean, obviously, there's several factors. First of all, as a world traveler, I always book early. You know, I always try to book at least 2 or 3 months early, so that always helps on the plane fares. Secondly, you know, if you're able to leave from a major city, you can get great deals. New York, Chicago, Atlanta, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas. If you can get to a big city, sometimes they'll have direct flights. You can get deals. I know my friend Dynas, he flies out of New York all the time. Sometimes he finds round trip tickets for like $500, $400. You know, it just depends. You'll need to do your research, and you'll need to kind of determine where you want to go, because people always say to me, well, where should I go for my first time in Africa? I think it determines what you're into. Like, maybe if you're into a lot of wildlife, Kenya would be a nice place. There's a lot of wildlife here if you're into, you know, going out, whatever. If you're also into wildlife, South Africa does safaris and things. I'm not a big animal person, like we've just discussed. I like the cities, you know. I like to see what's happening with the young people, the nightlife, the music, I love. So obviously, Kenya is a great starting point. Ghana is a great starting point. They have bustling places for young people. It's you know, very friendly. You know, so I think you know, try to prepare in advance. That will be helpful. B, do your research. Try to figure out what elements you want.
Yeah.
You guys have the liberty of going on social media and looking up any African nation now.
even on Facebook and all that, groups about people traveling, sharing their experiences from different
you guys
countries
have
and all that.
This social media thing has created so many opportunities and awareness, you know, because I'll say when I started traveling back in 2016 and I started doing my research, that's actually how I came across Dynas Demir's channel, because he was like one of the only people I found on Facebook putting information about African travel. And at that point, he had been to Zanzibar. So he had put pictures up of Zanzibar, and I thought, wow, this is so beautiful. And I never had seen anything like that in my life. And in Ohio, where I was living, there was a local like bar called Zanzibar, and I didn't even know it was a place.
It was a place.
I didn't even know, you know. So when I learned about it, I was just really interested. And at that point, Dynas had been to Kenya, he had been to South Africa, he had videos on that, he had videos of the Maasai, you know, so he was really a primary resource for me.
Yeah.
But now, you know, now fast forward these years, there's so much media. You can go to YouTube, you can type in Mozambique, you can type in Egypt, you can type in, you know, Zambia, you can get whatever you need
from people who've been there.
Yeah, you know, so it's such a huge resource. So doing the research is easy. You know, you know, a lot of us had to kind of be pioneers and travel to places. We're the first in our families, the first among our friends. We were just trying to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, African travel is just like a lot of black people, for instance, they go out to Asia, which I'll never understand. I'm not really interested in Asia, to be honest with you. They go all the way to Bali. All the way to Thailand, all the way to China, and they talk about the expense of going to Africa. But they go all the way
east from west to east.
Where is daytime here is nighttime there, and you go all the way there. You go way past Africa to go there.
Yeah.
But you're talking about you can go.
You
to
don't
Africa.
have money.
That's one thing that puts me on Asia. First of all, I don't want to travel anywhere and be minority. Why am I going to go from a place I'm minority to another minority? I like going where it's majority. When I get off the plane, see all black people. That makes me happy.
I'm home.
I'm home. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna be staring at me like, oh, where's this foreigner?
Yeah.
Oh, she just got off the plane. You know what I mean? If they see me in China, they you know, I mean, obviously I know the growth of black people in Asia is growing. There's more and more people going there all the time, but you're still going to be a super minority. So I'm not interested. But I'd say if you're interested in Bali and Thailand, you can do Africa. You know, that's just an excuse, really.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. So don't delay. You know, come to Africa if you're interested. Come to Africa as soon as you can, because I'm telling you, once you get there, the opportunities will illuminate themselves to you, and you can start on your future plans. You know, the longer you delay taking that first step, the longer, you know, I'm telling you, I came to Kenya for Maasai, and, you know, I really didn't have much of an agenda planned out. And this has all come from that. And had I never come here, I wouldn't be in this moment, because everything happened as a sequence. So something maybe I could have taken 10 years to start, I'm starting it now because I made that point. You know?
Sure.
This year I'm going to go. I wanted to go to the other ends of the continent, north and east, and I've done that. So, you know, it's been a tremendous blessing, and Africa has never disappointed me. Even with my experience to Nigeria, I didn't give up.
You're still going back.
I'm still going back. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family, by the way. They have helped support and, you know, finance that trip by donating to the platform to help me raise money to attempt to go back to Nigeria. So I have to acknowledge them on that, because getting deported, I lost all my travel money for that trip.
Yeah, I know that.
You know, so, but I'm going back, and I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I've heard that Nigerian people are very friendly. You know, I don't expect anything less of what I've experienced on the continent. So, you know, next week I'll be in Nigeria doing my content from there.
Looking forward to that content.
And next week,
no, I.
yeah.
I'll reveal
She'll
it.
be, yeah.
I will reveal it.
I don't
much
know.
later.
Like, you never know. Because on my channel, I don't tell them either. I just pop up, hey, I'm in Nairobi. I'm here. Somebody wrote on my channel, like, is this a current video or is this an old video? I'm like, no, it's today. I'm here. I'm here now.
It's really nice meeting you.
Yes, thank you.
We've talked, I think, almost an hour.
We've talked a lot, man. We've talked. There's so much to talk about.
It's really easy to connect with you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah,
you're natural.
so-
You're born for this. I know. Probably, you know, 5 years ago, you wouldn't see yourself for this. Like you mentioned, you just came to YouTube to, you know, just share your life and, you know.
And now, like, I understand that you're the African superstar. Your energy, your spirit. That actually makes you the African superstar, and continue the good work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. You as well. You're so friendly. You know, big shout outs to Kenya. You make your country look good. You make your country look good. And that is, you know, there's a lack of positive examples of young black women, young black people in the media, and I'm always so excited when I see us represented well, when I see my peers. You know, you're very encouraging, I know, to your people, you know, to travel, and it's wonderful what you're doing. So carry on as well.
Be sure to check out her channel. I'm going to put it on the description. You can also check out her website, support her business, and yeah, let's continue doing this.
Yes, and definitely the next time I'm in Nairobi, I will look for her if she's around. I know you travel around, you're always up and down too. You know,
I want to finish this video by this. You say, if you're black, stay true or something.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Now you need to conclude with that.
Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.
True, yeah. Bye-bye.